there, folks. Certainly glad you found us. My name is Darren Sutton, and this is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. Understandably so, over the last month, we have really focused on the class of 21. The draft was in July, and then 22, with Perfect Game's All-American Classic being played at Petco Park in August. But in this show, all eyes are on ages 11 through 14, and we're going to really focus on those Perfect Game Select Festival athletes, the next wave of the game. Jeremy Brown will join us on this show, the great writer, the great scout. He's seen them all. He helped to build these rosters. Who are these talented players? A couple of really gifted 14Us. The man they call Cuba, Aiden Harris. What an elite athlete. Play any sport he wants to. And how I do what I do. Hidwin, a great teaching segment. Konnor Griffin will join us on this show. We're going to learn a little bit more about his bag of tricks when he gets into the batter's box or hops up onto the mound. And then finally, Perfect Games, brand new, inaugural class of the Hall of Fame. We will roll it out, the first ever PG Hall of Fame class, and we'll be joined by a very special guest, a Hall of Famer, if you will. Well, let's warm it up. Let's get going how we always like to start things. In Fort Myers, the PGU 14U Select Fest. Noah Sheffield with a sac fly RBI late in an 8-6 Team East victory, and then he announced mid-game his college commitment live on Perfect Game TV.
I would like to announce that I'll be committing to Florida State University.
He said, by the way, when you bump into me in 10 years, I'm going to be a Gold Glover, a shortstop, and an MVP and have a really nice contract. Minor League Baseball. Look, we're not trying to pick on the New Hampshire Fisher Cats, but for a second consecutive week, they were on the business end of an opposing player's hat trick. Last week, it was Jake Mangum making 3 diving catches. This time, it was the Portland Sea Dogs' Tristan Cassis. We all remember him. The Red Sox #2 prospect put on a show in a Friday doubleheader. He was 5 for 8 with 3 monster home runs, and then he followed that up with 2 more moonshots on Saturday, 5 on the weekend. The 2017 PG All-American is having an incredible summer. He helped Team USA capture the silver in Tokyo last month, tying for the tournament lead with 3 home runs. To the big leagues on Saturday, check out Marcus Stroman. Remember him? 09 PG National when he was a shortstop? Just give him the Rawlings Gold Glove now. The baseball sense is off the charts. The Mets botched the double play, but Stroman wins the race to third and tags out Soto. By the way, look at little brother Jaden making the diving play at short in the 13U Select Festival game. So I ask you, which Stro made the better play? You be the judge. And finally, who doesn't love Daniel Vogelbach? A pinch hit, walk-off, grand slam. He beat the Cards on Sunday. The Brewers were down 5-1 going into the 9th and pull off the miracle comeback. FTB, his travel team, the #1 first baseman in the game when he graduated as a PG alum. A magical comeback. And so we're not too far away from seeing the #1 player in the state of Virginia hit bombs just like Vogelbach did. But about a decade. He's a 14U Select Festival athlete, and he's the #1 player in Virginia, Aiden Harris. And we got to know him quite well. There's so much confidence there and the right mix of humility and work ethic. And we really focused on the shoulder, the shutdown, the kid, and the commitment. What are we talking about? Well, let's find out.
My name is Aiden Cuba Harris. It was a 12U season when I strained my rotator cuff. I thought I was never going to play baseball ever again. In quarantine, when we didn't have school, I separated myself from a lot of kids. I just focused on baseball, lifting, and hitting. In Virginia, I don't have a lot of friends. Konnor Griffin Jr. inspires me. He said that he didn't have a lot of friends either, and he separated himself, so I wanted to be like him. So I listened to him, and I am where I am now. I'm the best player in the field. The talent level at my age group, it's unreal. You have like Konnor Griffin, Sam Kozar, Chase Mobley. All those guys are going to be big leaguers. I mean, it helps us push each other more and keep us motivated to see what we guys do so we can try to fight each other upstairs, and get to where we want to be. A lot of things have changed. My progression from fielding, from the beginning of the Select Fest to now where I am at the 14U National, it's gotten a lot better. I had like a lot of conversation with like those big guys, third basemen, and they taught me how to play third base and how to field the ball properly. I mean, no one else likes it, but I like the hot shots. Make the big plays, you know? The process for me was very quick and fast. When I got selected for Select Fest, I went to a camp, like an invite-only camp. And I showed off, and the coaches started to like me and stuff. We had a conversation for like 2 hours. They just offered me, and then I had to sit down with my parents, talk about it for a week or two, let it settle in, and I made my final decision. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm able to do anything in life now, and anything I want to do. I'll get in the batter's box. Everyone knows I'm pretty big, so everyone knows I'm a pretty good hitter. But I'll stay quiet the whole game and just drop bombs. I'll never feel pressure. It's time to stop talking and play baseball.
His travel teams are lucky to have him, the Richmond Braves and the Padres scout team. And also, he took part in the MLB initiative, the Breakthrough Series at the Hank Aaron Invitational, growing and developing the presence of the African-American athlete in the game. Aiden Harris, what a talented young man. But he's not alone. And to tackle that subject of not being alone, we'll bring in Jeremy Brown, Perfect Game's national cross-checker. He'll walk us through all the Select Festival athletes, 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old. We'll get to know them all. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings.
Yeah. Hey, I'ma get right in my bag. Why you gonna try to get mad? I'ma zip right past. I swear. You tryna size me up. Yo, love.
It started with a simple idea: to break what the game knows, to evolve the standard. It's time to revolutionize defense. Printed in 4D for a breakthrough in technology. Ultra lightweight, resilient, form fit, game ready and pro tested. Designed for a revolution, engineered for defense. The Rev 1X.
Hi, I'm Tom Flash Gordon, three-time All-Star and World Series champion. You're watching PerfectGame.tv.
This game in its first 5 years has already produced 17 draft picks.
What a stage these young kids can be on.
We're gonna win, right? Yes, sir. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hammers that one toward that wall in left field. He bangs it off the monster. Wow. Oh my
nice.
goodness. Backhanded play, Booth covers. That's a nice play on a flip. That will do it, and the E Squad wins it. The future of the game's incredible. You could see it at that event. I was fortunate enough to call it on CBS Sports Network and PerfectGame.tv. It's incredible. And when you think about 6 years of the Select Festival, let's bring in Jeremy Brown, Perfect Game's national cross-checker. H, the time flies, man. I can't believe the first 5 years, now 6, are in the books. 20-plus pros have come out of this game. This year, it's 11 through 14U age group. But let's start at the 14U age group. You helped to build this roster. I'll let you go where you want, but I want to start with the tallest man that I've seen at this age and younger ever, Sam Cozart, right-handed pitcher. How'd he do?
Sam did. I mean, it's almost what we've come to expect out of him. And he's still he just turned 15 years old. You know, you said how tall he was. He's 6'7", 240 pounds, 15 years old. Comes out just pumping the strike zone up to 91. We got to see it the last 2 years at the 13U Select Festival. Jump forward now to the 14U. He's made the progressions we thought he would. There's still plenty more in the tank. You know it's going to be like a mid-90s arm at some point. Got 4 pitches now. He added a slider, I believe, to an already curveball changeup combo. He just kind of established and solidified himself as a top arm at the 2025 class.
St. Augustine, Florida is very proud of Jacob Kendall, National Player of the Year. He had a pure hit in that game that screams prospect.
Absolutely. I mean, if you caught Kendall at any event this summer, I think he played in like 1,000 games. You probably would have seen that happen at least once or twice. It's a smooth left-handed swing. He's only getting more fluid, stronger with the physical maturity. And obviously he was named the 14U Player of the Year, comes right out top of the first, finds a barrel just as he did all summer, kind of solidifies and says, see, I deserve that award. And we're just getting to know Jacob Kendall as a prospect.
So I had Charles Johnson, longtime Major League catcher, as my analyst in the game. He was blown away by the catchability of Omar Cerna. Then he went and banged one off the wall. What'd you see?
Just that. I mean, we got to see Omar a little bit. He wasn't on the national circuit as much as others. Did a showcase in Texas in early January, came back for the national showcase, and it was more of the same. I think he hit a double off the monster in this game during the showcase. Had the big arm strength, led the showcase in pop time and catcher velo. Then he comes out, he's shifting his weight around, blocking balls, like just as a 14-year-old you don't see. And then there's another hidden talent that we didn't get to see on the mound. He's an upper 80s arm as well. We did get to see it on that throwdown, a frozen rope to second base that I believe it was Sheffield made that incredible tag, and just really advanced stuff.
And by the way, getting to see a guy hit and on the mound, Konnor Griffin's incredible. And then he touched 91 on the mound. We know he can hit. He could probably play any sport he wanted to.
He's really that type of athlete. He might be the best 14-year-old prospect I've ever scouted in the 6+ years of doing this. He's a 6'2". He won our 5-tool award. Obviously, the speed's there. He runs a 6'7". The power, the hit, the field, just glides when he's in the outfield. And then the arm strength, like you mentioned, we got to see on the mound, just throwing 91 mile an hour, taking off like airplanes through the strike zone. Ball jumps out of his hand, and like you said, there's really nothing he can't do on the diamond that he doesn't want to do.
One last one, and then we're going to go rapid fire on the other younger age groups. It's Trey Morris, left-handed pitcher, Fresno, California.
Trey Morris has to learn to throw a couple more pitches so he can get his TV time. He threw 10 pitches at the Select Fest. He struck out all 9 that he faced at the 14U National. It's just strike, 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 strike. Angle, the velocity keeps climbing every time we see him. I think he was up to 87 at the festival, which is a new high for him. Can spin a breaking ball, but it's the ability to work to either side of the plate that's really advanced for a lefty out of NorCal.
All right, here we go. 13U, rapid fire. Jaden Stroman, Christian Sheffield, both sons of major leaguers, but both deserve to be there if their name was Smith and Jones.
Absolutely. I'll go again with another bold statement of Jaden Stroman made the best defensive play I've ever seen at a Select Festival. That play to the hole really kind of highlighted his athleticism and his wherewithal to pop to his feet, use the turf, and deliver a strike across the diamond. Christian Sheffield, we got to see Noah commit on TV. Christian made his own statement with a double off the wall that off the bat I thought was getting out. It's a similar swing to that of Noah and that of Dad Gary, so it's only a matter of time before those balls do start clearing the wall.
At the 12U age group, I want to talk to you about a couple of catchers. Now, I know they play elsewhere, but tell me a little bit about Jorvorsky, Lane, and then also Cole Crawford. I know Crawford can play anywhere, but what about these two guys?
Lane was a menace on the bases. It was my first time getting to see that age group, really. He was getting on base, he was stealing the next bag, and then the next bag, and then he was scoring before you knew it. He could turn a single or a walk into a home run, essentially, scoring within 3 pitches. And it's really good athleticism. You could probably put him in the outfield and he'd do just fine. And then you got Mr. Crawford, who I just saw football tape on, and he's a menace on the football field. Up to 81 on the mound, really athletic behind the plate. I know Danny was a fan of him as well. Big juice in his bat. Another one kind of can probably do what he wants at any point and succeed.
So the 11U age group, really excited to roll this game out. Carter Moon is one name, a young man out of Georgia. Yael Santos out of New Jersey. Let's start with Moon.
Yeah, Moon was the 11U National Player of the Year, and then I think he took home MVP honors just to kind of put the icing on the cake. Went and looked at his numbers again. He hit almost 600 on the summer, 15 home runs. He was the name I had heard heading into the event, like, hey, here's one to watch. And you just watch him walk to the box, dig in, kind of set up. Then he unleashes that left-handed bat speed, and it's like, oh, okay, that's different. And the same with Santos. He's big, he's physical, he's 11 years old, throwing 80 on the mound. I mean, we were watching the Little League World Series, kids are throwing 72, 73, and it's jumping. Imagine an 11-year-old throwing 80, 81, and that's what you have with Giles Santos.
All right. Thank you very much, H. Your insights are always amazing.
Absolutely. Thanks, Seth.
When we come back on Perfect Game Weekly, we will reveal the inaugural class of the Perfect Game Hall of Fame. One of those brand new members will join us. This is the only show devoted to amateur baseball. This is Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rollins.
Perfect game. On and off the field, it's a way of life. And now, that same passion, your passion, is represented in the brand new exclusive PG Gear and Clothing line. Designed with you in mind, the looks that you live in, whether during a sweat-soaked workout or a round of BP. Make your memories in perfect game gear. Thoughtful, comfortable, perfect for you. Visit shop.perfectgame.org.
Welcome back to Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Rawlings. I'm Darren Sutton. When you have a great springboard to professional baseball, like Perfect Game provides, at a certain point, you've got to think about your history. This company, born in 1995 with 13,000 players drafted and 1,600 plus have headed to the major leagues. It's time for a Hall of Fame. Allow us to introduce you to Perfect Game's inaugural class for the Perfect Game Hall of Fame, and their names you would expect. When you look at the very top of the list, Carl Crawford, the four-time All-Star, a PG alum, as was Prince Fielder. He went to 01 PG National, also went to Jupiter. Zach Greinke was a catcher and a shortstop at PG events, a Hall of Fame, a future pitcher. Bryce Harper, so young at PG National, so young as a Perfect Game All-American, they found a place for the guy who went #1 overall. Brian McCann started his amateur career as part of the famed East Cobb program. Andrew McCutcheon in the big leagues, an MVP and a Gold Glove, PG National at the Trop. Buster Posey, again, a pitcher and a shortstop, East Cobb program, PG events. Mike Trout, kind of where you build the foundation from. 9-time All-Star, Tri-State Arsenal, his travel team out of New Jersey. Justin Upton, the #1 player in PG's 05 class and a PG All-American. And Joey Votto, the Canadian who came down and took part in several Perfect Game events. When I had the opportunity to start creating content for Perfect Game and leaving Major League Baseball to come and do this labor of love, one of the first guys I wanted to talk to about his amateur experience was Mike Trout. Hopped on a plane, found him, had this memorable conversation, and it really seems appropriate now as Mike Trout heads into the Perfect Game Hall of Fame.
Go back to your sophomore year. Do you recall when it happened for you? In other words, you were pitching in a state playoff game, right? And they were there, the scouts there to see a senior, and you knocked the ball over the boards. Kind of recall that day when you moved on to the radar.
Yeah, sophomore year, it's where it began. To actually have teams reach out and send you stuff in the mail and talk to you, contact you. I thought it was pretty special.
Millville High School and Tri-State Arsenal. They both had a big part in who you were. How did you balance that?
Obviously high school season was more important. In the off season, or the off season would be the summer, and I think traveling team and Tri-State Arsenal made me get out. And when I traveled across the country with that team, helped me, just compare my talents to guys, across the country. And I think that's the biggest thing that helped me get my name out there. I'm from South Jersey. Not a lot of people know about South Jersey and New Jersey in general. There's a couple guys that came out of there.
Okay, so then the WWBA in the fall in Jupiter, you go and you play against those players. What were those experiences like? Is that kind of what you're referring to? What were those experiences like? Because those are all good baseball players in that tournament.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was referring to. Just going out there and competing against the best in the country. At my age, and people older than me. It's good to try to compare yourself and just to see where you're at.
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim select Michael Trout.
The one thing you said leading up to the draft is you were going to try not to think about it. I think a lot of young prospects would love to know how in the world you do that.
So you obviously think about it off the field, but once I got started playing, I really just went out there and played. I don't really think about it too much. I think that's when you think too much, you get in trouble. Try to do too much, try to get out of your role, try to hit ball 500 feet when you can just go out there and keep your same approach. That's what got you there in the first place. So it's just staying positive and not trying to think too much. But you know, if I had to give some advice to young kids, always stay positive. You know, you go through some tough times. You know, but for me, it's always getting the negative out of my head. And staying humble and, you know, getting good grades in school. I think that's the biggest thing that helped me is, you know, keep my head on straight, trying to get good grades. And, you know, you got to have obviously a backup plan, you know, because not always time worked out. But, you know, once you get your education, you have a good head, things will lead you in the right way.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations, Mike Trout. Had a lot of fun this year for the first couple of months of the season's calling. It was one of the greatest months I've ever seen in person on Angels television. By the way, if you want to be a part of the great event, visit perfectgame.org. Induction night, celebration night, October 5th. Again, visit perfectgame.org, the event in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. When we come back, we'll wrap it up where we started. One of the greatest 14U players in the land. He dreams of being Mike Trout. We'll find out how he does what he does when we come back on Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Raleigh.
There's a new king in Queens. Francisco Lindor is headed to New York.
New York is great. It's a place where you can be whatever you want to be.
Every day I challenge myself to break down barriers.
Seeing others live their passion, it makes me push harder in all that I'm doing.
Man, that dude Lindor is fearless.
I'm always trying to push myself further as an athlete.
My style is limitless, just like my city.
Confidence, passion, commitment, style, that's Queens for ya.
Custom gear is important to me because it just represents who you are. Me as a kid, I remember I used to always look up at all the big leaguers at the time and see what they would wear. You couldn't get that stuff, you know, in the stores. So now being able to customize basically everything I wear on the field, and it's one-on-one, I think that's just something special. You know, I worked really hard to get here, and we get to do some swag and put your own flavor onto the field and show people, you know, who you really are. Customs are one-on-one, just like me. G-Form, made for the moment.
Hi, I'm four-time Gold Glove winner Charles Johnson, and you're watching PerfectGame.tv.
I'm Konnor Griffin, and this is how I do what I do. So in the 13U Select Fest, in my swing, I kept my hands closer to my head right here and had my barrel up, and I got jammed a lot. So I was like, I got to change something before I go to the 14U and compete against better guys. So what I did was I got off the plate a little bit, and then I got my hands farther back on my shoulder, like right here. And so when I load, I want to bring my hands back a little more. At the 13 Select Fest, I had them right here, and I just go from there. Which if I do that, my barrel's not in the zone as long as when I get my hands right here, and I bring my hands back and go straight to the ball. When I don't have two strikes, I'll stand off the plate a little bit because my arms are pretty long, being 6'3", so when I swing, I can reach a outside fastball. With two strikes, I like to get on the plate a little bit, and then I'll choke up just a little bit, not too much, and I'll shorten up my swing. Without two strikes, I pick up my leg a good bit. With two strikes, I'm on the plate, and I'm like just barely pick it up, and just be ready to drive those balls the other way. My hips, when I swing, they're real quick. And the way I got them real quick, I use a core velocity belt, and it's like a strap that goes around you, and there's this band that pulls on you. So when you're hitting in the cage, you're taking BP, and you're pulling against the resistance, and you take that off, and then your hips are so quick, and then you'll eventually get used to it, turning your hips, which will create power as well. Best advice I've ever got was just crush the ball and run hard. I feel like it's just being simple. You got to keep it simple when you're up there hitting. So just hit the fastball, don't miss a fastball, and drive it to the gaps and run.
One of the best young hitters in the land, and through 91 on the mound at the 14U Select Festival, Konnor Griffin. And by the way, allow me to mention that basketball MVP, 7th and 8th grade, football MVP, 7th and 8th grade. How I do what I do, I think we should listen to this talented athlete. We want to thank Jeremy Brown for giving us all the insights on the 11 through 14-year-old athletes in the land. I'll look back with Mike Trout and look forward to hearing from him more and all the Perfect Game Hall of Famers. If, of course, you want to go back and watch any of these episodes, visit perfectgame.tv or do one better. On your smartphone or smart TV, download the PGTV app. We're here and at ballparks near you every single week devoted to amateur baseball. My name is Darren Sutton. This has been Perfect Game Weekly, presented by Raw.